when he has made his arrival, we will then schedule the other 4 sessions in here. It will obviously be collab sessions, doesn't really matter. And then we will obviously go over the test. We will finish the last chapter, and then we will just maybe do some exam prep here and there. But we actually have enough time during the semester to do exam prep, so it's not too much of an issue. So I don't want you guys to worry about it. Remember, we still have the LAC sessions as well, so we'll actually be fine. I just don't want you guys to wonder why I am not scheduled here. Okay. So once he's here, we will just do another version of the timetable, and then we will just schedule me in somewhere here. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be around here, around the 9th, 10th this week, or maybe 2 sessions here, 2 sessions there, and then we are done. Okay, hundreds. So guys, what I'm going to do is we're going to start at the chapter. So have a question on will. Ooh, okay, your message has just disappeared. Let's quickly check. Okay, so what's going to happen with will is that what I want to do is I'll just chat to Milka as well. I want to see if we can maybe, because I've already looked at your test dates, but guys, this is really like, I've just thought of this, so I first have to chat to Milka about it. But there are some days here that you guys are not writing. So I was thinking of doing, because your will file is due on at the moment is due on the 11th of November. So we're going to have to do the presentations before that. So I'm thinking of doing it around here, like around middle of October, to do the presentations, and then you still have enough time to compile your file. And so guys, because it is due at 11:30, what I'm thinking, because 11:30 to me says that it is then an online, that you are going to have to put everything together and you're going to have to submit it online, which is not really an issue. That's fine. So, but once I've chatted to Milka and once I also just have more information on everything, I will let you know. We do have, let me quickly check. I want to say, I know that we have will coming up. I want to say Friday, but I don't think it's Friday. Let me quickly check. Yes, it is a Friday. It's next week Friday. So guys, I will post announcements on will for you during this week. Remember the last time we spoke, I gave you a list of questions that you had to work through, that you have to present. One thing that I also said to you is that you have to start working on your files. You have to start putting all the reports you've written and everything together. And then we also have to start working on your presentation. So remember that you have done a presentation on the report, but your overall presentation. So remember when we had the background of ShopRite, for instance, that is not going to be 20 slides in your final presentation. That will be, for instance, like 2 slides. So we have to start working on the presentation. And then what I'm also going to start doing is I'm going to start seeing the groups separately when we have will. So guys, don't worry, this is an all timetable. So remember the first 2 weeks is collab. So obviously this one, 13th August, is collab as well. So I'm going to start seeing you separately, the groups separately, so that I can have individual discussions with the groups as to what you still need to do, where you're going, and then we also have to start looking at what of ShopRite would we like to fix. So I want you to start shifting, moving your mind that way, and start thinking about where does the problem of ShopRite lie, and how are we going to fix it? Because that's essentially the next thing that we're going to look at. You're going to write like a research report, and then we're going to do the financials, and then we are essentially done with will. Okay. But I will post everything on an announcement for you during this week, so that you guys can just start working on that for next week for me. Okay, hundreds, guys. So do you guys have any other questions maybe that you still want to ask me? Any other concerns that you guys maybe have? If you guys are fine, then we're going to start. And let me just quickly share the other slides. Okay, so guys, as you know, if you are struggling to hear me for any reason, then just let me know. Sometimes the internet does dip, even though we actually got fiber just so that I could lecture, and the internet doesn't dip, but yeah, still does sometimes. So guys, what I've done here, let me just quickly show you. I've done, so because it's second semester, we are technically chapter 1, but if I say chapter 1, you guys will be confused. So for every single chapter, I'm going to do a 1/8 because it is chapter 8 of the textbook, but it is chapter 1 of the second semester. Okay, so just so that you understand my my theory to my madness. Okay, 100. So guys, what we're going to talk about is the business level strategy. So we are going to look at the different strategies that organizations use in order to compete effectively in the market. So if we have to look at what we have to do today or what we have to know by the end of the day, first thing, you have to be able to explain the nature and the necessity for business level strategy. So why do organizations need to have a strategy to compete in the market? Then you have to distinguish between the different types of strategies, identify the business level strategies in an organization. So if you are, and this is one of the activities we'll do today, imagine getting a case study in the test or the exam, and then you have to, and reading through that, and you have to be able to identify what strategy are they using or recommending the different strategies that they can maybe use. Then evaluate the potential business level strategies for an organization and recommend the appropriate business level strategy for an organization. So, game, business level strategy. So when we go back to what we did in first semester, especially in chapter 3. In chapter 3, we looked at what is a strategy. And remember, a strategy is a route that the strategic decision makers, so will normally be your top level management, believe will take them to their destination. So this is the route that they're going to use that will get them where they want to go. And this is another word for this is the strategic intent. And this is what we spoke about in chapter 3. So remember, an organization has a vision and an organization has a mission. The vision says, where do we want to go? My mission says, how am I going to get there? And my strategy will help me to actually get where I would like to go. So if an organization actually wants to grow, if they want to survive, if they want to have that one thing that every organization wants, which is competitive advantage, they need to make strategic decisions that, number one, will match the organization's strengths with the opportunities that are in the environment at the moment. So this is a deliberate strategy that companies use to meet the customer's needs while watching their rivals, so watching their competitors, while also looking at the market conditions. So guys, if we, for instance, look at, I promise I'm not going to use COVID again, but it's still such a relevant example. But if we look at COVID, for instance, and what COVID did to the economy, what COVID did to the businesses as well, you can't say that you want to grow with 10 or you want to increase your revenue with 10 or 15% while the economy is not doing very well. You are just not going to achieve it. So I have to look at what are my competitors doing? What does my customers need? What do they want from us? And lastly, the market conditions. So number one thing that I want you guys to remember throughout this chapter is we want to achieve competitive advantage. That is the main thing that we want here. What I've also done for you is I have just added a link. So if you want more information on strategic management, you are more than welcome to go and watch this video. That will just give you some more info on the topic. So guys, when we look at the levels of strategy, so this will take you back to first year when we did top management, middle level management, and we did lower level management. So remember, it was the strategic decisions, tactical decisions, and then we had the operational decisions that were made at the bottom. If you guys forgot, remember that top management are my CEOs, managing directors. Middle level management is where the business normally divided into different departments. So I had HR, marketing, finance, and let's say logistics. And then in my lower level management is where that department would divide into smaller departments essentially. So marketing might go into advertising, product design, and sales. And then from here, my employees would be here at the bottom. Okay, so we are going to concentrate on the business level strategy. So what business level strategies is about is we are looking at how can we remain competitive in the market that we are currently in. We have to determine how do we intend to compete in the industry and what is the best position for us to actually achieve this competitive advantage. We also have to look at where do we want to achieve the competitive advantage. We need to determine how can we actually compete successfully in the market, and then the business level strategy will be broken down into smaller strategies, and the functional and operational level strategies, they will then actually go and look at what can they do so that they can help us to achieve that competitive advantage and to be able to compete effectively in the market that we are currently in. So guys, what influences the strategic choice? The first one is the availability of resources. What resources do we actually have that we can use? So resources can be anything from raw materials, it can be our capital, it can be our labor as well. And that is where my skills of staff also comes in. So how skilled are my staff? How creative are my staff? Then the unique capabilities of the organization. We've spoken about the capabilities of the organization, the experience that the management team has in the specific market. So a good example that I always use here is King Price. Remember that the CEO of King Price, although King Price is still a fairly young company. So if I, for instance, said to you that the CEO has only had King Price for, let's say, 6 years, you probably won't really have a lot of confidence in him. But if I said to you that Gideon Galloway, who's actually the CEO of King Price, have actually worked for Outsurance before, and before that, he has worked for another company that's the underwriters for Auto and General and all the big insurance companies. So he roughly has about, I think, 25 years of experience in the insurance industry. So we have to look at not only not the company on its own, but we also have to look at the experience that the managers have in that specific industry, and also on how they and the experience that they have on dealing with the different market conditions that might affect the business. Okay. Then the competitive advantage. Do we already have a competitive advantage? Do we want a competitive advantage? Guys, remember that some companies don't really want a competitive advantage. They don't have the resources, which can be finance, for instance, or the raw materials to have a competitive advantage. They just want to survive. They are happy on surviving and building their brand, and maybe down the line, actually starting and fighting for that competitive advantage. Then the market conditions, also looking at strengths of the competitors. In the exam, you guys just did the 5 forces of Michael Porter, where you had the buying power of my customers, my suppliers, threat of entries of my competitors, and then also the needs. How does my customers' needs change? And then any other opportunities or threats that there might be in the industry. One thing that is not mentioned here that also plays a very, very big role is my vision and my mission. So like I said, if your vision is, I just want to survive, I just want to make my profit, I want to be able to pay my rent, pay my employees, I am happy where I am, then you are not necessarily going to want to have a competitive advantage. So it does depend on where you see yourself in the future as well. So here's the fun part, guys. So we're going to start looking at the different strategies that is available that we have. So this is also known as the generic strategies. You guys did a little bit of the generic strategies in first year as well. This is once again Michael Porter. Guys, there's some very nice videos of Michael Porter on YouTube. I actually wanted to share some of them that we can watch it, but honestly, most of them are like 40 minutes to an hour long. But he has the most amazing videos on strategies, on the 5 forces as well. So if you have some time and you've watched everything on Netflix, then hop over to YouTube and go and watch some Michael Porter videos. Okay, so these strategies are based on my target market. Okay, and also on the type of competitive advantage that I actually want to achieve. So it informs us essentially of how the organization aims to compete in the industry. So guys, if we look at the different strategies that we have, what I want you to, and I mean, I just put two of them on because this one does explain it a little bit better. So on this side, I have my total market. So this is everyone in the market, okay? And then I have a niche market. So me and my husband had this discussion last night because I was trying to explain to him what a niche market is, because he sees a niche market as something that is like really such a small, fancy thing. And I'm trying to explain to him, this is not what a niche market is in this context. A niche market in this context is a market that is just really, really small. Okay, so it is, I'm going to show you guys some pictures later on. The one that I can think about now is that there's, I have this, like, think of Big Blue, for instance. Big Blue sells weird gifts, weird clothes. The other day I saw there's a baby grow with like chappies all over it, and matches, line matches as well. So that is not necessarily a niche. It is just that the market is so much smaller. They do not adhere to everyone's taste, if I can say it like that. Okay. Then what competitive advantage am I looking for? I can have a low cost strategy, or I can have a differentiation strategy. Then if I put the two together, low cost total market, I'm going to have my cost leadership, differentiation, and my total market will obviously be a differentiation strategy. At the bottom, I can have a cost focus strategy. So guys, both of these are also known as my focus strategies. And my focus strategies are for a smaller market. The one is based on cost and the other one is based on differentiation. Okay. So here at the bottom, essentially the same thing, but it just, like I said, explains it a little bit more. So guys, also with my focus strategies, this is essentially where I have market segmentation because I'm only focused on a very, very small part of the market. I'm not catering to everyone. I'm only catering to a segment inside of the market. So when we look at the first one, and guys, you'll see in your textbook that they have a whole case study on the different airlines that we have in South Africa. So with this one, with my low cost leadership strategy, brands that I want you to think of here, or companies that I want you to think of here, is Pitt, for instance. We have ShopRite. You can think of Kulula. You can think of Mango. I'll show you guys a picture later on about all the different airlines that we actually still have functioning in South Africa. It's very sad. Okay. So what do we want to do with a low-cost strategy? We want to achieve a competitive advantage by reducing our costs. When we focus on a low-cost strategy, we need to have a very low input cost because we're trying to drive our prices down. And this is what ShopRite always says, is that we are keeping our prices as low as possible because they know that they are catering for a price sensitive market. So their whole aim is to keep their prices as low as possible, and through that, they are actually achieving the competitive advantage. The sources of this advantage is we need to have economies of scale. So guys, if you remember what economies of scale is, we can maybe, let's say the first product that we manufacture will be very expensive, but the more we manufacture, the more products we manufacture, the cheaper the products will get. So that is what economies of scale is. We are essentially manufacturing in bulk, and by manufacturing in bulk, we can sell the products for less. We might have specialized machines that will allow us to manufacture more products for less, and we can also have less overhead costs. So if you look, for instance, at Kulula or Mango, they don't have they don't offer any food. For instance, you have to pay extra for your baggage. So that is why how they're trying to keep their costs low, and through that achieving the competitive advantage. If we look at the advantages and the disadvantages of this, the first one is that it provides protection from industry competitors through having a cost advantage, because our competitors can't really compete with us. If they want to compete with us, it means that they will also have to lower their prices, and they probably can't always afford that. Not every company can afford to lower their prices. Then the next thing, we are less affected by input price increases in the case of powerful suppliers. We have an increase in the bargaining power from purchases in large quantities. So everything here is about the bulk. We are doing everything in bulk. And with the low-cost leadership strategy, we have a barrier to entry. And that's what we want. That is, if we can try and minimize the amount of competitors that are going to compete directly with us, we are going to get competitive advantage. So guys, remember that the world of the business world is not a nice world always. So as much as we can say we care about our competitors and we care about how they are doing, we actually want to be number one. Okay. I don't know if you guys, there's this new series we're watching on Netflix. It's called Drive to Survive. If you are at all a Formula One, if you like, I've told so many of my friends to watch this series, and all of them said to me they used to watch Formula One with their dads on a Sunday. So if you are at all into cars or Formula One, watch Drive to Survive. As much as Red Bull, I mean, guys, I mean, I haven't watched Formula One in a long time, and that's all we are watching now is Formula One. But as much as Mercedes cares about Red Bull, wait until they're on the track and then the gloves are off. Similar to the business world. Okay, disadvantages that we have here. We can be affected by changes. okay, I know. But can we just say Albin won his, sorry guys, now see Formula One. I mean, this is two girls talking about Formula One. Albin actually won his first race ever. And then we can have a separate conversation about Lewis Hamilton one day. When we actually started watching it, I said to my husband, I don't like Lewis Hamilton. And he's like, why not? He's such a nice guy. And as we were watching Lewis Hamilton continuously crashing into Red Bull and essentially into any other car that's in front of him, we were like, okay, maybe we don't like Lewis Hamilton that much. So I don't know if any of you guys are Lewis Hamilton fans. I know, Gareth, we can have a whole conversation with about Formula One. Okay. 100. See, guys, I get distracted with Formula One. Okay, so what can happen? So remember that our customers are very, very price sensitive. So if something happens in the competitive environment, if we look at COVID, for instance, or we look at these job losses, then those customers that are already very price sensitive can become even more price sensitive. Or what can also happen is the economy can just start growing all of a sudden. The customers that were very price sensitive are no longer price sensitive. They will go start buying at Checkers, at Pick and Pay. They're just not going to ShopRite anymore. That can also be a disadvantage for us. Competitors can also try and be more innovative. They can maybe have new marketing strategies where they slash all of their prices, and then we are in trouble. Guys, the problem with this is though that although competitors can try and compete with us, very seldom will they be able to maintain that. So they can compete for a little bit, but then they just won't be able to keep it up. And they can also imitate our strategy, which can also pose a threat to us. And we can sometimes just be so focused on the cost that we actually lose sight of what our customers really, really want. So remember when we did our world presentations and we spoke about ShopRite, I said to you, Musa and I still had this conversation, that you can't, just because a customer is price sensitive doesn't mean that they have to get something that is of less quality. So sometimes we are so focused on cost that we are maybe putting harmful ingredients into the products, or we don't really care what the store looks like. We sell bread for 5 Rand, for instance. Someone that buys a bread for 5 Rand doesn't care what the store looks like. And that is not true. So we have to, although we have to be focused on the cost and on keeping our costs low, we also have to be focused on what our customers want, because their needs are also changing on a daily, weekly, yearly basis. Okay, next one, guys, differentiation strategy. So this is also known as a premium strategy. This is this one here. So I'm different as a company, but I'm still catering for the total market. Okay. The products here are seen as unique. We want to have a higher market share that will actually yield us cost benefits by offering better products at the same price. And the margins that we use, the price margins can be slightly higher. So we can make the product unique by offering certain improvements. We can also demonstrate the product and how this will meet the customer's needs. And it is also, we can base the differentiation on the company's competency. So what we are really good at. So guys, with this one, this is where we have very unique or valued offerings. And our customers are generally willing to pay more because of this whole differentiation. They are seeing that they are getting something that is different. If you, for instance, if you look at the South African market, I will put Uber Eats in here. People don't care that Uber Eats are a little bit more expensive. They like the convenience of it, and that's what makes them different from, for instance, just a steers scooter that is actually delivering steers, for instance. We can also put Uber in here. So once again, people would rather drive with Uber than, for instance, drive on their own or even use public transport. And then another one that you can also put in here is Airbnb. So Airbnb, once again, it's different. It's essentially the same. It is, you book a place where you can go and stay for the weekend, but people prefer Airbnb as to guest houses, for instance. But what can also happen here, guys, once again, is that we can have our competitors. So if you think of Uber Eats were doing what they were doing for a while, and then Takealot said, let's buy Mr. Delivery, bought Mr. Delivery, which wasn't really relevant anymore, and then they became relevant again, and they started competing with Uber Eats. So if we continue looking at the differentiation strategy, the success of this strategy depends on the perception that the customer have of the value that they actually receive. And that value, that unique value that they think they are receiving, or that they are perceiving that they are receiving, is what they are willing to pay for. Then the next one is the competitors and the imitability. Can our competitors imitate what we are busy with? How easy is it to imitate our differentiation strategy? So guys, also under the differentiation strategy is our broad-based differentiation. And this is where an organization will differentiate for a broad range of customer preferences. So that is why I put Virgin here at the bottom. Virgin is really a company that is using the differentiation strategy effectively. They have really just created a lot of different companies so that they can actually cater to a wide range of the market. So also what we do with a differentiation strategy is that because we are charging higher prices, we can then use that additional money that we are receiving to actually recoup the differentiation costs. So because of the higher prices, we can then pay for all the marketing that explains to the customer what makes us different from any other company. So guys, advantages and disadvantages of this one. What we have here is that we are going to have brand loyalty. So this is where our competitive advantage lies. People like using Uber, they like using Uber Eats. They're not even second guessing another company. They will just immediately book an Uber, book Uber Eats, and then everyone is happy. We are not really threatened by powerful suppliers because that's not where our problem is. That's not where we are trying to achieve a competitive advantage. Our competitive advantage lies in our customers that perceive us as being unique. Our customers are very price insensitive. Like we said now, they don't really mind paying more. Um, we are not really threatened by powerful buyers, and we can just pass on a price increase to our customers. I want you guys to actually do this if you book on Uber Eats again. Go just check how much Uber Eats is versus if you just Google the restaurant on Google. So if you take Spur, for instance, just take the Spur menu on Google versus the Spur menu on Uber Eats. It is a lot more. Okay, I can promise you guys that. It's actually scary how much more expensive it is on Uber than it will be if you, for instance, just went to the restaurant and picked it up yourself. This differentiation that we have can create a barrier to entry because our customers are not really going to switch. Remember, we are different. And they like us because we are different, because they see us as unique. So they don't really want to switch. Even with, maybe let's quickly do a poll. Uber Eats or Mr. Delivery? Which one do you guys rather? I will go on the one and then I will go on the other one. And then I will still go for Uber for some reason. Do you guys like Uber Eats more or Mr. Delivery more? Okay. Mr. D. Ooh, are you guys Mr. Delivery fans? Why do you guys like Mr. Delivery more? Okay, so far everyone's Mr. Delivery. Okay, Musa's Uber. Oh, is Mr. Delivery cheaper? Ah, cheaper. I thought so. Oh, and then they also have discounts. So, yeah, that's true. They have a lot more discounts. And I've also noticed that they are cheaper. And what also happens, guys, with Mr. Delivery that I've seen with oh, I can probably say it to you guys. Like my favorite pizza place is Pizza Evino. If you guys have any other pizza places, let me know. But you can there's just a wider range of pizza choices on Mr. Delivery and customizing options than what there is on Uber Eats. Okay, so yeah, so it's Mr. Delivery for you guys. Okay, I think I need to give them a second chance. Clearly. Okay, so guys, disadvantages. Problem with this strategy is that we have to be unique and we have to continuously communicate to our customers that we are unique, we are different. If they start seeing us as not being unique anymore, then they are going to switch to another brand. And remember, it's super expensive to get a customer back once they've actually switched. Our competitors can just imitate what we are doing. Like we said, we have Mango, Kulula, Fly Safi. We're going to talk about Lyft as well today. I don't know if you guys have used Lyft before. We'll chat about Lyft. And then we have Uber Eats, Uber. We have Lyft as well that also does cars. And then we have Uber Eats, we have Mr. Delivery. So it's not a very difficult strategy to imitate. And then the risk of imitation actually increases when the differentiation comes from the design or the physical features of the product. Okay, so guys, the next one that we're going to look at is the focused strategies. So I'm quickly going to do focused strategies and we can take a break and then we can come back. So guys, with my focused strategies, this is called a niche strategy. Remember, I said that my focus strategies are here at the bottom. So I have my cost focus, which is focused on low costs for a smaller market. And then I have my differentiation focus as well, which is also focused on a smaller market, but it's based on differentiation. So guys, with this strategies, with my focus strategies, the scope of my customers are very, very narrow. I will also only offer a very small amount of products because I'm catering to a smaller market. My focus strategy will only be effective if I focus on a specific niche and I have to offer the best value. Sorry, guys, let me just do that sentence again. I don't know where my head went. So we have to make sure that if we want to use this strategy, that I have a customer base that is actually big enough that will offer me the profit and the competitive advantage that I'm looking for. There's no use of trying to sell something that is really just not working. Okay. Just because it's not because the product is a bad idea, but it is because I just do not have enough customers that are actually interested in this specific product. Then when we go to the next one, if I look at my focused cost leadership, this is where I attempt to outcompete my competitors through lower costs. It is very attractive when the target market is interested in the lower service, and my competitors can also try and respond to through their own strategies. They can just essentially copy our strategies to also gain a part of this market. So guys, the one thing that I want to talk about is Lyft. I don't know if any of you guys, like I've said, have used Lyft before, but I've actually Googled Lyft, and it's quite a cool idea that was a very cool concept that they have. So what actually happened is that they had a competition where you could name the company, and you could then win airline tickets for a year. So I think 80 people actually submitted the name Lyft, and those 80 people then the airline tickets for the year were divided among those people. Okay, so with Lyft, what is nice about them, what I like about them, the first thing is that their schedules, so they work very similar to Uber. Their schedules are determined by popularity. So, for instance, Johannesburg to Cape Town is a very popular route. So they will have more flights from Johannesburg to Cape Town than, for instance, Johannesburg to Bloemfontein. Okay. On Mondays and Fridays, they might do Johannesburg to Bloemfontein, and the rest of the week they will do Johannesburg to Cape Town. Then, if you want to change a flight or you want to cancel, there's no costs attached to that. So you guys know normally if you book on any other airline, you have to, if you were to change a flight or you were to cancel, you would normally have to pay a penalty fee or you would lose your money. So if you change a flight, if it's cheaper, they will refund you the difference into your Lyft wallet. And if it's more expensive, you just have to pay in the difference. Then what's also nice about them is if you arrive on the airport earlier, you can actually ask them if there is an earlier flight. And if there is and there's space, you can actually get onto an earlier flight with them. If you, that's what I'm asking if you guys have used them before. I know my brother has used them, and he said that what they've done is essentially to keep the costs low, because Lyft is the cheapest option at the moment. They have added more seats, so there's barely enough space for your legs. There's like almost nothing. He says that you sit very upright. There's no space in front of you, and you kind of just sit there like a little sardine for 2 hours. But for some people that they don't really mind. They don't mind sitting a little bit or sacrificing a little bit of the space in order to pay a cheaper price. Okay. Guys, in my focus differentiation strategy. So what I have here, these are actually socks that you can currently buy from Big Blue. If you guys are into like a little bit different products, like me, I like the weird things in life. And then, guys, you're gonna have to tell me, maybe the girls as well, if I remember right, this is a Bugatti Veyron, if I remember correctly. So my focus differentiation strategies, this is where I have differentiation on a very, very small part of the market. Once again, a very narrow segment of the market. Not everyone is going to buy a pair of Danger socks. Not everyone's going to like a pair of Danger socks. And the success of this strategy depends on the fact that my buyer segment that I'm focusing on want a very special product. They want a very unique product. And we have to stand, we can use our capabilities like being able to create a very fast, a very expensive car or dangerous socks. And that is how we can use that capabilities to actually stand apart from our competitors. Guys, another one that I can use here that I really hammered on in first semester, but I did actually with the second years, is refillery. I don't know if you guys have been to refillery. There is one in Woodlands Mall. So how refillery works is that you can take your own containers there, and then you can essentially buy anything that you really can think of, honey, milk, eggs, any dry ingredients like oats, flour, macaroni, sugar, um, anything you can really think of. So the only difference is that you take your own containers to them. So they're trying to slash the prices by being more eco-friendly and removing the container aspect from their strategy, and it is working. I've really, honestly, I've always wanted to go to them. I've never been to them, and I actually feel bad. I should just go because for me, it's such a cool concept, especially for people that are environmentally conscious, that do not want to throw away 20 plastic bags every time. You can just take your reusable containers to them, fill it up, and everyone's happy. Okay. So guys, let's quickly take like a 10-minute break or so, come back, quickly go and get a sip of water, and yeah, maybe, yeah, get a sip of water, some tea or coffee, 10-minute break, and then come back, and then we can continue with the rest of the chapter. So guys, I'm only going to go to about half of this chapter. I'm going to give you guys an activity to do that we can maybe chat about afterwards, and then we are done. So we're not going to be the full 2 hours, just so that you guys know. Okay, so quick break and then come back. Okay, so guys, let's continue. There's just something that I want to chat to you guys about first. So this is it's just someone that I'm following on Facebook. They actually shared this during the week, and they said, how sad is it that there are only 3 airlines left that actually does national routes in South Africa. So those are Airlink, Fly, Sem Air, which is actually just Sem Air. I've never even heard of them. And then we still luckily have Fly Sapphire. Lyft is not currently here because they only started their operations again yesterday. They because of COVID and the restrictions and everything, they stopped for a little bit, and they only started flying again yesterday. So, but I actually thought of, remember how many airlines we always could choose from? I mean, we had SAA, we had British Airways that also flew from like Johannesburg to Cape Town. We had Mango, we had Kulula, and then Fly Saf Air came in as well there. And this is all that's left. Kulula doesn't exist anymore because Kulula was part of British Airways, and Mango is grounded again. And then SAA is bankrupt. So there's nothing left. And British Airways is also no longer flying the national routes because it's just not cost effective enough. And I think there was a dispute with AXA, which is the airline corporation of South Africa. There was a dispute there as well with them. So all of these airlines also offer a very cheap alternative, meaning it's not like SAA or British Airways where you would get a meal on board. They all 3 of these airlines, and with Lyft included, so all 4 of these airlines are essentially competing for the same market, which is the low cost, more price sensitive market that there currently is. Okay. So guys, when we look at the advantages and the disadvantages of my focused strategies, these strategies does create a barrier of entry against the competitors because we are providing a product that they cannot. It's either the fact that we are providing a very low cost product to a small market, or a very different product to a small market. Also, something here is that it's probably also just because the market is so small that big companies don't really want to spend the extra money to compete in a smaller market that where they're not really going to see the benefit, and where this market is not really going to yield any real profit returns for them. Then we do have a power over our buyer. So the bargaining power of my buyer is very low here because they can't find this product anywhere else. Another example that I thought of is I don't know if you guys know Fat Cake City, but they sell, it is the weirdest name, by the way. Like, and I just say, like, I can't get over the name. But anyway, it's like a direct translation from Afrikaans. But anyway, but they provide very low cost fat cakes, as well. They have rations and chips as well, but they also provide it to a very small market. So essentially, if you don't like ration and chips, or you don't like fast food, or take fast food, or vetkoek, then, which is fat cakes, then you're not really going to buy from Fat Cake City. Then another advantage is that the customer loyalty that we have, so the loyalty that is created from the fact that they can't get this product anywhere else, does reduce the threat of substitute products, because there are not really any substitute products available currently, unless they want to pay more, for instance, or unless they are happy with a product that, if we look at the danger socks, unless they are happy with a product that maybe doesn't have danger tape all over it, but the danger tape is essentially what makes the product unique. So these focus strategies allows us to actually stay very close to our customers, because we are continuously meeting the needs of a very small market. So it is so much easier to continuously do research on what does our customer need and how can we actually satisfy their needs. Then the disadvantages is there's very high production costs, because remember, we are different. We are trying to be different. And what can also happen is that the niche can suddenly disappear. And lastly, is that the niche can also be vulnerable to attack. So, I mean, anyone else can also start making socks with danger tape on them. So we might have to patent the product or have a copyright on the product or on the strategy that we are using, or on the different products that we are selling, so that we can prevent the competitors actually imitating our product. There's also a new, I don't know if you guys saw it, it's all over Facebook and Instagram. There's a new Coke as well. It's a South African version. It's called Boer Cola. It's like a black container that is written in gold. We actually tasted it the other day. If you guys see it, it's like a mix between like Pepsi and Coke. It's sweeter than Coke, but there's a lot less ingredients in, which I think is a good thing. So yeah, if you guys see Boer Cola, like a black can, gold writing on it, I would definitely recommend it. That is also a part of differentiation, being another competitor to Coke. Is Coke even noticing, guys? Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think Coke really cares about Kingsley, for instance. Kingsley is another brand of Coke, or cool drinks as well. Sorry, guys. So I don't think Coke really cares a lot about all of these small cool drink manufacturers that are pitching up from everywhere. Okay. So guys, the last one we're going to look at, and this is the one here in the middle. It's called Stuck in the Middle. I just want you guys to maybe make a note when you study this. These are not organizations that are stuck. Okay, so it's just called Stuck in the Middle, but this is once again a deliberate strategy that they are following. They want to be here. They are happy to be here. So it's not like they are indecisive. This is something that they've actually chosen. So this is why I put the picture of the best of both here, because this is essentially what the strategy is about. It is where we have, it's a combination of the low cost with the differentiation. So we have a very high value, high quality product, or a reasonable quality product at a reasonable price. So if you, for instance, think of Pick and Pay, Checkers, they can be here. I will not, maybe we can put Woolworths here as well. If we look at the wider scope of things, if we maybe look at the Woolworths clothing range, we can put them here. I won't put Woolworths food here. Woolworths food, I think, will be maybe, they can even be a differentiation focus because it's a small market. Anyway, okay. So this is where the product is very affordable, plus they have something else. So they have an extra characteristic that actually makes them different from similar products. This is where we will compete in the low cost or the luxury market. If you, for instance, think of Sorbet, so what Sorbet has done is they are providing products that is very affordable. It's a reasonable quality, but what makes them different is that they are giving back to the community. They have like a Sorbet school where you can essentially go to if you want to train to work at Sorbet. It's like, I think it's called Sorbet Academy. So they are giving back to the community. They are supporting different charities. So they have the affordable price, but they have the products that is of a reasonable quality, and they have the differentiation that makes them different. And that is what appeals to their customers. And then, for instance, another example that I have is like IKEA, although we don't really have an IKEA in South Africa, but IKEA also, they are offering products that are very, very unique, that is also sold at an affordable price. So with this strategy, we aim to reach a large group of value conscious buyers. So guys, not price sensitive buyers, not unique niche buyers. We want value conscious. So they want to buy something where they actually, where the what they are receiving is worth the price that they are paying for. And then this requires that the company's resources and capabilities needs to add that attractive attributes to the product or the service at a lower cost than what our competitors are doing. If we are offering a product that's very similar to what the competitors are offering, then our strategy is not working and we are not going to achieve that competitive advantage. So what are the advantages and disadvantages? Advantages is that this strategy will help us to build and strengthen our competitive advantage because we are essentially playing both fields. We have the price and we have the differentiation. Competitors can find it very difficult to imitate because they are going to lack on one part of the strategy. Either their prices are going to be too expensive or they are going to have a product that is not of similar value. Problem is that a lot of organizations have tried this and it didn't really work because you have to be very clear in your strategy when you do this and in your communication as well. Otherwise, what's going to happen is that I'm going to have customers that are confused. They don't really know why am I paying 100 Rand for Nescafe coffee if I can buy, let's say, Frisco for 80 Rand or 50 Rand, for instance. So I have to continuously communicate to my customers why the value is equal to the price that they are actually paying. What also happens here is that organizations are literally stuck in the middle. They're not really getting that competitive advantage. And this once again just comes back to the fact that their customers are confused. Okay, they don't really see the value and the worth in this product. And remember, if you have customers that are confused, what's going to happen? They're going to switch to a substitute product, and you are going to have to try really, really hard to actually get them back. Okay, so guys, what I want you to do for me, I've loaded this under learning units, so under more resources on VC Learn and lecture slides. This is the Airbnb case study that I want you to read through. It's about 10 pages. So I want you to answer the two questions. What strategy is being used by Airbnb? So what strategy are they currently using? And would you recommend another strategy for Airbnb? Okay. So guys, I'm not going to, what we're going to do is I'm going to get you guys, you can read this when we are done with class. And then when I see you again, then we can have a discussion on Airbnb because it is quite a very, very long case study. Like I said, it's 10 pages. It literally starts off with how Airbnb started up into where they are today. The case study is also a little bit older, was published in 2015, 2016. So there they said that Airbnb is valued at 25 billion US dollars. Airbnb was valued in December 2020 at 100 billion US dollars. Okay, so, but I mean, the rest of the case study is still relevant to today. So I want you guys to read through it. Tell me what strategy you think they are using, and then what strategy would you recommend? So use the theory that we did today. I don't want to know a lot about the theory. I want you to use the theory and apply that to Airbnb. And then when I see you guys again, then we can have, we're going to have a discussion first. That's the first thing we're going to do, is have a discussion on exactly on what Airbnb is doing, and then we'll take it from there. So guys, I'm only going to see you next week again on the 10th of August, as far as I can see. So that gives you more than enough time to do the Airbnb case study. Okay, let me just quickly double check. Okay, yeah. So guys, I'm only going to see you next week on the 10th of August again. So work through this case study, and then 10th of August, we'll chat. Okay, 100% guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. If you have any other questions that you want to chat to me about, if you maybe quickly want to chat about Will, you are more than welcome. If you just want to ask me something, otherwise, then we are done with today's class. Okay, Meritabile, let me quickly check. Yes. So both report 5 and report 6 is what I want you guys to present on next week, Friday. So it's going to be 5 and 6. Okay, I will just put that on VC Learn as well under announcements, just so that everyone knows. What I'm thinking of doing is to separate the groups. So I'm going to have Group A present first half an hour, Group B the second half an hour, because I mean, I'm seeing guys, I think for 4 hours, if I remember correctly, but it doesn't matter. And then, so we'll first have a discussion, and then afterwards, I will then get the groups to present, and I can have individual discussions with each group to say where are you lacking, what do you need to do, what are you thinking about, and then we can, and then I will see the next group. Okay, so report 5 and report 6. Guys, for those of you that are still on, just communicate this to your group as well, that report 5 and report 6 is what your presentation is going to be on. Okay, both of those reports for Will. Okay, 100% guys. If you have any other questions, please let me know.